Show has time. Looks for Deutsch. Deutsch at the one into the end zone.
On to serve, dug out by Bishop. This to the middle and slamming one home.
And free ball to the crossover. Eilertson will get the pass for Hawley. Set up left side. Rusted down with the kill.
He'll play action now. Look to pass over the middle. It's intercepted by Cole Hebel. Intercepted by Hebel, and he brings it back.
Set it up, Boston left side. Big kill blocked at the net. Kept alive by the Greyhounds.
Fetting's got room, and here's Bo Fetting. Fetting's still on his feet. Fetting's gone. Bo.
The Your Live Event Coaches Show is presented by the Hillsborough Economic Development Committee.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Joe Lancello, and coming up, we'll be talking plenty of basketball today. We'll have the Minnesota boys basketball playoffs, which are continuing. In 8A, we'll talk with Nathan Stoa of Hawley and Matt Askegaard of Barnesville. They are still competing in 8A. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, the girls' state tournament is underway this week. Brad Dahl of Badger Greenbush Middle River made it in Class A, and also in Class AA, TJ Super of Perham. We'll talk about their team's chances at the state tournament this week down to the Twin Cities. We'll start, though, with the North Dakota State Class B boys basketball tournament. That's getting underway tomorrow in Bismarck. I had a chance to talk with both Brandy George, the coach of Thompson, and Matt Norman, the coach of Central Cass. Central Cass actually the number one seed in the Class B boys basketball tournament. Let's hear first from Matt Norman. Central Cass going to the North Dakota Class B state boys basketball tournament. The Squirrels will go in with an undefeated record. Matt Norman, the coach of Central Cass, joins us right now, and congratulations on getting to the state tournament. And this is the first time in school history, right?
Not the first time that we've been to the state tournament. We were there in 2012. But thank you for the congratulations. We're pretty proud of this group.
Talk about how the Section 1 or the Region 1 tournament went for you.
Well, it went well. Anytime you can get out of Region 1 with a victory on Thursday night, you're excited about it. But there were some definite ups and downs. We started with Wyndmere Lidgerwood. And we're able to get away from them, but it took us some time. Then we went on to Hankinson, and they played really, really well against us, a high-scoring game. Had to deal with Cruz Hernandez, who is a great athlete and a great basketball player, along with his teammates. And then on Thursday night for the region championship, we had to go through a real tough and athletic Kindred team. And we were thankfully able to get out of there by the skin of our teeth.
That win over Hankinson had to be satisfying because that was the closest game you had with them all year, was in the regular season back in January. 1-point win.
It was, but it was definitely a nail biter. It was another really, really close game until the end. We were able to get away and get a little bit of breathing room, but it was definitely very close for 4 quarters.
With an undefeated record, has that been a big thing around the team to stay undefeated? Or if it did, when did it become a big thing?
Honestly, not really. We're happy clearly to be where we are, but it's more of a one game at a time mentality. And I know that sounds like, coach speak, but we've really got to just kind of focus on the process. We're super excited with where we are, but just like all the other teams that are going into the state tournament, everybody's undefeated right now. We start a new season, and so we've got to make sure that we go out and not rest on our laurels and make sure that we're being deliberate when it comes to our game prep.
And 3 wins to get a state tournament, but you can't get 3 until you get 1 first.
That's correct. Yep. We're excited that we get to give these seniors specifically an extra 3 games. We're going to create a lot of awesome, wonderful memories here being out in Bismarck, and we're very, very excited about that. But like we said, we've got to take it 1 game at a time.
I haven't seen your team since early in the season when you played Thompson and won there. Mm-hmm. Cole Holzer was a guy that really impressed me, just his length.
Yeah. Yeah, he represents kind of our length. We're not a super tall team. We've got good athletes, and we're definitely blessed in that regard. But Cole is definitely our longest player, and his skill set is definitely something that we rely on. A lot of length, a lot of touch around the basket. He's got good ball skills for a kid that's 6'7". So we're very happy that he wears red and white.
Who are some guys that have improved a lot during the course of the season?
In terms of improvement, we've had a lot of kids that have been really, really steady for us. You know, the Sam Covervage, Cole Holzers, Carter Verkotas, they've really been steady. Mason Bussey's been really steady for us as well. But in the last couple of weeks, Eli Boer has really stepped up for us. We're excited about him. Been working his tail off. Chase Bachmeyer has been really, really working hard, does a great job defending the basketball. And just plays with a lot of intensity. So those two for sure, but as a team, I think we're growing as we go throughout the year too.
What are the things that the Squirrels will have to do to come away from Bismarck with a trophy?
We have to make sure that we defend around the 3-point arc. Warwick does a really, really good job of scoring from deep. They shoot the ball a ton. Their possession numbers are really, really high. And so we've got to make sure that we eliminate some second possessions. We've got to make sure that we dictate the tempo of the game. We've just got to guard, plain and simple.
And you mentioned Warwick. That'll be your first opponent on Thursday night. We'll have that game and all the Squirrels games at State on yourliveevent.com with audio-only coverage. What have you found out about Warwick in the last few days?
They play hard and they play really, really fast. You know, they've got 6-7 kids that average 7+ points a game. And so they've got a lot of different options to score the basketball. They've got kids that shoot really, really well. Defensively, they can put you in some bad spots. And so we've got to make sure that we take care of the basketball, pass up good shots for great shots. And then defensively, like I mentioned, we really got to lock in. There's going to be a number of kids that can put points on the board. And so 1 through 5 on the court for Central Cass has to be willing to guard.
Well, we look forward to seeing how the Squirrels do at the state Class B tournament. And also, is there a little extra meaning for you and also for the kids because this is the last Class B as we know it?
Yeah, that's always kind of a nice, cherry on top, I suppose. But anytime you can make it to the state tournament, I think any team is excited. Our girls did a great job at their last Class B. And so we'd like to make sure that we go out there and we be as competitive as we can be, and hopefully we end up in the winning column.
His and her state championship trophies would be kind of neat.
It would definitely be neat, but we got to do things one at a time first.
All right. Matt Norman, coach of the Central Cass Squirrels, thanks very much for the time today and best of luck at state.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation right after this. Back on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. The Thompson Tommies going to the state Class B boys basketball tournament. Brandy George is the coach of Thompson, and the Tommies getting there with a couple of great wins in the Region 2 tournament in Grand Forks last week, hanging on to beat Mayport CG in the semifinals and then beating Grafton by 5 in what I'm told is kind of a typical region championship game because it was a little on the low scoring side with both teams in the 40s.
Yeah, it was, you don't find many. I've been doing this, I think, in Region 2 now. I think this is my 11th year, and I don't remember there being very many blowouts in championship games in this region tournament. And I think that's a testament to, just the teams that are in this tournament and the competitiveness and it's a wonderful region, and yeah, it didn't disappoint this year for sure. It was very competitive, and it was probably hard on the hearts for a lot of people here sitting trying to watch games, and but it was a fun atmosphere and a fun tournament for the boys and for all of Region 2.
And your guys getting there thanks to some long distance shooting. Braden Wolfgram has improved so much in that regard during the course of the season, and he had a big 3-pointer for you late in the Grafton game that helped you out put you ahead or kept you ahead?
Yeah, he through probably the first half of the year, Braden, he didn't look to score a whole lot, and we had several conversations with him about trying to find his shot and looking for his shot more, and we always knew that Braden has the ability to shoot, and yeah, he had a couple big ones in that region tournament, and that one in the region championship game with 30 some seconds left. We're ahead by one, and he hit that three. That was huge for us. So like I said, the first part of the season didn't look for it as much, but he's really looked for a shot more, which has really added another dimension to our team. And so we're really excited that Braden has found that confidence, and we needed that as a team. And, that enabled us and helped us to get to that next level too.
And Drew Overby has done that all season long. I think it was in the Mayport game or that he scored the last 11 points, or your team's last 11 points, that got you going, and he can also light a team up from outside.
Yeah, he can. He's a scorer, and I think if you look at that first couple quarters of the Mayville game, he didn't shoot the ball real well. And it's not that he was taking bad shots or quick shots. He didn't shoot the ball well that first half. So, you're not going to have to tell him to shoot it twice. That's for sure. And that's good though. I mean, and Drew is a very pure shooter. And like you said, in that fourth quarter against Mayville, he had a lot of big buckets there, a couple real crucial baskets for us to get us back over the hump there and regain the lead and get the lead. I guess you could say we didn't have the lead very long in that whole game. So to get the lead and then, secure it with a few free throws at the end was just really, really big for us too. And credit the guys on the team too for finding Drew. They know he has the ability to shoot it too, and they'll find him when he's open, and they trust him. They trust him to knock those shots down, and Drew did for us. So he had a really nice region tournament, as did a lot of our guys.
Yeah, Carter Peterson would be one of that category for sure, with a whole bunch of rebounds. And I believe in the Mayport game, or it might have been the one before that, where he had scored a whole bunch of points for you early to get you going.
Yeah, KP is he has that ability too. And, when he's aggressive, when he really shows that aggressiveness, he can be a really, really good player. So he's a big body, he's long, and he had a nice region tournament for us. And we're going to need to see that, Carter, in the state tournament too, because we're going to be playing against some big bodies, and KP's ability to get in there and mix it up a little bit and rebound. He's got to be a force on the boards for us and continue to be a force for us. And offensively, we've got to get some output from him as well. And he did that in the region tournament, and another big piece as to why we're going to the B this year.
And Jake Starcevic also with some solid plays, and a couple of attempted dunks that didn't come off, but then again, so many good passes that did come off.
Well, I think you look at Jake, and Jake he's a competitor. And I look at that semifinal game against Mayville. He really kept us going in that first half. I think his will to keep us in a game was really amazing. And Jake has that ability, and he is, like I said, he's a tremendous competitor, and Jake doesn't like to lose, so he'll do anything in his power to help us not lose. And he's a wonderful player, and he had some big boards for us, some big baskets for us, and he's proof that, in that region championship game, I think Jake had 10 points, but without Jake, we probably don't win that game either. So he does so many other little things that maybe people don't see along the way. Jake guards their best player 99% of the time, whether they're 5'8" or 5'9", or whether they're, we'll go out to the state tournament now, and this Yale kid for Dahl, Jake's probably going to have to guard him a little bit. So he takes on that challenge. He welcomes that challenge, and he's a big part of what we're doing and why we're where we're at right now too.
Tell me a bit about Braden Tice. He came into the starting lineup for you in about mid-season, and what has he brought to you?
Well, I think Braden brings us the ability to have a little bit of length on the floor at a guard spot and be able to defend some of those guards. And offensively, he doesn't always look to score a whole lot, but I'll tell you what, his job on that championship night against Braylon Baldwin at the point guard spot, I thought he did a wonderful job. And like I said, he adds a little bit of length to us, and just another dimension for how we can match up with people, and how we can kind of set our game plan around the size of guys that we have on the floor too. So, we'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive on offense, but at the same time, if he keeps defending and doing some of those things, we got some other guys that are able to score too. So Braden's just got to keep defending like he has been and be a positive contributor there too.
Another thing to like about your team is that it can still get a lot better because a lot of juniors and sophomores getting a lot of regular minutes for you.
Yeah, we're young. We didn't mention Thomas Schumacher and Gavin Krogstad and Drew Odenbach. Gavin and Thomas, depending on the night, get a lot of minutes, don't get a ton of minutes, but Gavin was huge in our regional tournament. He was aggressive. He got some rebounds for us, got a couple buckets for us, and Gavin played a huge role in our region tournament. Tommy Schumacher went in and he wanted, he's not afraid to defend people, and he's able to knock some shots down. And then Drew Odenbach didn't get a ton of minutes in the regional tournament, but he's another big body we can put in there too. So to your point, we are very young. I think you go at the state tournament. I haven't looked at a ton of rosters or anything yet, but we're starting 2 juniors and the rest are sophomores. So we're fairly young when you look at it. But I think as the year's gone on, I really think we've handled that well. I think we've learned how to handle our emotions a little bit better, yet play with energy and have that fine balancing act too. So, it's really been fun to see our growth as a team, as individuals, just throughout the course of the season, from game 1 to game 24, which we played last week. I think we've made some great strides, which has allowed us, the opportunity to play in the biggest stage in North Dakota at the Class B state tournament. So we're excited.
And you'll be starting that off in the last game of the night on Thursday against Gillette Burlington. What have you found out about them?
Well, they're good. I mean, they've got Yale, who is about 6'9" in the middle. They've got an Olsen kid. They're a talented group of kids. They beat a very good Ryan team to get to the state tournament. And I think they've only lost a handful of basketball teams. So, we're going to have our hands full. I think anytime you look at the 4-5 matchup, people usually say that should be the best game of the opening round of the state tournament. And I think that's going to hold true. I really believe that. So we know we've got our hands full. But at the same time, like we talked about with our boys, if we go out and play loose, like half the pressure is getting out of the region tournament. Let's face it. That's, these young guys are sophomores, juniors in high school. There's a lot of pressure on them to try to get out of a region. And the fact that we got out of our region, we're playing bonus basketball now. And so we've got a chance to go and play loose and have fun. And I truly believe that if we do that and we play to our strengths and we just get out and play the game the way we know how to play, I think anything can happen. So we're really excited about the opportunity we have. And we know that our first round game is going to be a challenge, but at the same time, you're there and anything can happen. So that's kind of our message for our guys.
And this is also going to be the last Class B tournament as we know it. What does that mean a little bit more for yourself than it does for the players? Well,
I don't know. I think when you look at it, it was the last Region 2 tournament as we know it too. And that's, there's a lot of history in the Region 2 tournament when you think about over the years, the teams that have come out of our region. And then when you go and you get to play at the last true state B tournament, you talk about history and you talk about past champions, you talk about people that that's kind of where dreams are made. And I know it's a cliche, but at the same time, there are a lot of kids in their high school career. There's a lot of people in their high school career that don't get a chance to go play at a state tournament ever. Sure. And so that's kind of been our message for our guys is you've got to enjoy it. You've got to embrace it and understand that there are a lot of people that would like to be in your shoes right now. So we can't take anything for granted. And I think you get out there and sometimes you get so caught up in everything. We want our kids to stop and take a deep breath and kind of soak it all in, especially when we get to our shoot around on Thursday and get a chance to be in the Civic Center. I think at some point you got to push pause a little bit and you've got to be able to appreciate and enjoy the fact that this is a pretty special moment for not only our school, our community, but for these young guys. And it's something they can talk about for the rest of their life and they can tell their kids when they get old and that they got to play in the last, true state B tournament. So I'm excited. Last time we were there in 2019, it was kind of a magical year for us. And we've got a very different team this year. And we're going to take it a game at a time, but what a special time for our kids and our community, our school. And we're just really excited to have this opportunity.
And we'll have audio only coverage of the Thompson Tommies at the state B boys basketball tournament on yourliveevent.com. Brandy, I'm not going to be there in person, but I'll be with you in spirit for sure. Good luck.
All right. Hey, we appreciate all of your coverage this year. You guys do a wonderful job, so we appreciate everything.
All right. Brandy George, coach of the Thompson Tommies boys basketball team. We'll continue with more on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show after this.
Take a good look at Hillsboro. It's conveniently located between Fargo and Grand Forks. Hillsboro is a growing community with solid local schools with high graduation rates. There's an industrial park ready to host a new business. And there's Woodland Park with activities all year round. The Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation asks you to take a good look at Hillsboro when you're thinking about a place to put down roots and grow. For more information, contact the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation at growhillsboroND.com. Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9 in Ada invites you to order your new Chevrolet vehicles. From the Silverado, Trailblazer, and Traverse, Lee Brothers is your authorized Chevrolet dealer providing sales and service to the area since 1975. For ordering your vehicles, talk with Mitch Smurfer J. Trust the experts who know your vehicles best and take advantage of great Chevy certified service offers today. Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9, Ada. Call 218-784-2000.
This is Chris from RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer. Many factors impact your ability to increase profits on the farm. Make sure your planter is an asset and not a liability. Some limiting factors in making the perfect planter pass are row maintenance, meter calibration, and downforce management. It will not cost you anything to have the conversation about identifying those limiting factors. Call RDK Enterprises 701-636-2119 or planterdoc.com.
Welcome back to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. We'll turn now to Minnesota and the Girls State High School Basketball Tournament, which is getting underway today down in the Twin Cities. TJ Super is the coach of Perham. They're in the AA tournament, and I had a chance to talk with him. I also had a chance to talk with Brad Dahl, the coach of Badger Greenbush Middle River, the Gators, making it to the state Class A Girls Basketball Tournament. We'll hear from Brad first. The Minnesota State Girls Basketball Tournament gets underway this week, and Brad Dahl joins us. He is the coach of the Badger Greenbush Middle River Gators, who are going to the state Class A tournament as the Section 8 representative. Brad, I had no idea back on December the 6th, I would be seeing two teams that would be playing in their respective state tournaments when your girls played at Thompson. Thompson, of course, finishing second in North Dakota Class B. And that was a really good game. It turns out your team doing very well to get to state.
Oh yeah, I was always hopeful, but I think every year you hope that that's going to happen. But the girls really kicked it down and made it happen the other night.
And you did it by beating a Boston team 53-50 that was highly regarded. Matter of fact, they were the last team that has beaten you, if I remember right.
Yep. We played them in the middle of January, and they kind of handed it to us in the second half. We actually were up 1 point at halftime, and they got to us and were pushing us around, and they ended up building a 14-point lead and winning. So yeah.
So what happened in the region championship game that you were able to win 53-50?
Well, I guess the never quit. The girls. I mean, we had a good start to the game. We had a chance. I thought, we missed some opportunities where we had some good looks and missed some few easy ones. But we like to do that sometimes. It'd be way too easy if we just make the first one. So we had a little lead at half, and that quickly went away in that second half. Boston came out. We needed to be this much closer maybe, and then if we weren't, they made us pay. They hit some big 3-pointers right away and kind of took control and took momentum of the game, I would say, pretty early in the second half.
Who are some of the people that stood out for you in that section title game?
Well, after we kind of got down a little bit, we had, it seemed like there was just different kids at different times. we kind of hung in there. We were sitting down probably 4 or 5 points, and each time it got to 7, we had someone come down and get a quick 3-pointer. I know Kenzie came down, hit one, and then the lead they built back up to 7. Cassie come down and she only shot one shot that whole game, but it was a pretty big one.
Mhm.
And knocking it back down to 4, which makes everybody feel a little bit better, a little more doable. But we had, the defense turned it up a little bit. We were able to kind of heckle them out on the perimeter. I know that we got hands on ball. Jade got a huge steal and threw the ball out, and I think that's what tied it late. We gave up the lead pretty quick after that, but then Kinsley Hansen comes down and has just a really good kind of a turn to the left-handed, little off the glass to tie it back up again. And I think that was with a minute and a half to go. I don't know. I think I've watched the game, or at least parts of the game, about 3 times already, or 4. But exciting every time.
Mm-hmm. Hey, a good movie you like to watch it more than once.
that is true. They, like I said, they came up big. We were able to, I don't know, Boston came down and they had some real good looks, and ones that they are probably typically used to knocking down, and they just rolled around the rim, and we were able to get hands on it and grab it. Yeah, it was quite an intense game. We'll just say that.
And you mentioned your daughters, Kenzie and Cassie Dahl, Jade Reese. And the thing with a lot of these girls is they will not be overawed by the occasion of playing in a state basketball tournament, because last fall they played in the state volleyball tournament and did pretty well, if I remember right.
Yeah. I think we're gonna say it's gonna be a good advantage, maybe, of getting that just the excitement and the jitters of being in the big show, the dance, or it's just exciting. It's the first time we've been there since 2007. First time I've ever coached a team in a state tournament. So I'm looking forward to that. But a lot of the girls, a lot of them, there's just probably 2 or 3 that aren't in the volleyball program. So that experience right there should help them.
And you'll be starting off in the Maturi Pavilion, ironically, where the Gopher volleyball team has its home matches. And you're going to take on a Hayfield team that's 28-3, pretty close to your record of 26-3. What are you hearing about Hayfield?
Watched a little bit of film on them, saw some of their section title game. It seems like every team we have has 1 or 2 kind of bigger girls that are, close to that 6-foot range. We're not that fortunate, but we have girls that can compete and play kind of big with them, and we hope to do that. From what I know is they all like to shoot and can all knock it down. So we're going to have to be closing out on defense, and I guess their little point guard is really quick, and we're going to have to move our feet and adjust well.
Okay. And that is going to be Thursday afternoon when the Gators take on Hayfield at State. Brad Dahl, thanks very much. Best of luck down there, and enjoy the occasion.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you very much. Go Gators.
All right. And we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation after this. Another Minnesota basketball team going to the state tournament, the Perham Yellow Jackets. They'll be playing in the Class AA tournament on Wednesday evening against Albany. TJ Super is the coach of the Yellow Jackets. Congratulations on making it to state.
Thank you very much. Pretty exciting.
That had to be an interesting 8AA tournament, or at least a championship game, because you were facing in the championship game a Wadena Deer Creek team that was like the Cinderella story. They were an 11th seed.
Yeah, they were, but I think going into the tournament, we heard a lot of people, including us. We thought we could face anybody 2 through 14. Frazee was the 14 seed, and they were playing really well down the stretch. And really, when you looked at like the 3 seed was Pelican, and when Wadena played them the first time, Wadena was ahead the whole time and ended up losing by 3. And so there wasn't a lot of separation, we thought, between a lot of the field.
Okay. Talk about your region title game against Wadena Deer Creek. What were the things that worked well for you that day?
Well, we had talked about this throughout the season. Our goal was to not lose to anyone in the section, and I think we ended up the season 19-0 in the section. So, we kind of just really focused on the idea of us being us. Like, we didn't have to do anything crazy. We didn't have to do anything fancy. We just had to play our normal game, and we figured we were the best team in the section. The game kind of played out that way, and we really jumped out well defensively. And we kind of had the goal throughout the playoffs, don't let a team get to 45. And, Wadena ended up at 44. So we were right on point there. But our first half, our offense was really clicking, and we're just really deep. Our second leading and our third leading scorers didn't score in the game. And our leading scorer, was out for a lot of the game with some back issues. And so our bench really stepped up, and we put up 42 in the first half. And with our defense, we kind of thought it was over.
Okay. Now that you've actually made it to the state tournament, who are you going to be leaning on, or who are some of the people that the fans should keep an eye out for?
Well, obviously the AA field is completely loaded with really good talent. When you look at the top 10 all-state girls, most of them are playing in the state tournament. It's a really good field. And then obviously, Providence is probably the best team in the entire state, no matter what class you were talking about. They're just really, really good. And, they have Maddie Greenway, who's a stud, 2,000-point scorer as a 9th grader. And then Crosby has the 9th grade girl that's really good too. And, she's got 2,000 points too. And we're playing Albany, and, they have 2 all-state girls on their starting lineup that are juniors, and they're really long and tall. So there's just a lot of really good players.
So for your team to do well, what are the kind of things you'll need to do on Wednesday night?
Well, Albany has a pretty big size advantage over us. Their tallest girl's like 6'3". They have a couple 5'11" girls on the wings. They have a guard who's 5'10". And, our post is 5'11". And after that, it drops off significantly. So we're going to have to rebound the basketball. Our goal has to for sure be that we have to keep girls away from the paint. And defensively is where we've kind of made our money. Everyone likes to talk about our 3-point shooting, and they talk about, how Willow's averaging 22 and 12. But really, it's our defense that gets us going. So those 2 things are huge. We got to keep them out of the paint, and we got to rebound. If we do that, we got a shot.
That's Willow Field you're talking about, your leading scorer and rebounder.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. How many seniors do you have on your team this year?
Well, we have 4 seniors. 3 of them start. Maya Morris is our point guard, and she's kind of the engine that makes us go. I think she's made 105 threes on the season, which is absolutely astounding. She's on pace to be in one of the top 10 all-time seasons, basically, in Minnesota basketball history with threes made. And then we have Olivia Pilgrim and Olivia Rosenthal, who both start, and they're both really good, but different players. Olivia Rosenthal is kind of our defensive specialist. I think she's the best defender in the northern part of Minnesota. And Olivia Pilgrim's leads us in assists, and she also shoots about 40% from 3. And then Lily Ockery is a senior that comes off the bench and is a really, really great leader. And the cool thing about Lily is after our game on Saturday, she drove down south and got 3rd in competitive weightlifting. And so she's heading to nationals for that.
I take it the weather was in her favor on Saturday, as opposed to for some of us up a little farther north.
Yeah, well, I guess it wasn't very good coming back on Sunday. It took an hour to get home from Wadena to Perham, which is about a 20-minute drive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Goodness. Well, hopefully one of the things you'll get to lift will be a state championship trophy.
Well, that's the goal. I mean, this team has set aside a lot of goals. We wanted to win the conference for a second straight year. We wanted to go undefeated in the conference. We wanted to go undefeated in the section, and we wanted to win the section championship. And this team has accomplished all 4 of those goals. This team, we haven't talked about winning a state title. We want to go down there and compete, and we want to, we'd love to win some games and get the chance. Obviously, there's a huge giant in Providence Academy waiting there, but we've already seen them once. We got to play them, and so we kind of know what to expect. But we've played against these teams like Albany. We've played against Goodhue and Lake Crystal Memorial and Crosby. We've seen them, and we know that we belong down there. The girls just got to play and have fun.
We'll be watching for the Perham Yellow Jackets at the Class AA Girls State Basketball Tournament. TJ Super, thanks very much, and best of luck to the Perham Yellow Jackets.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
And we'll continue right after these words on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation.
Every business has its special needs and its own unique set of challenges. That's why we treat your business just like ours, to make sure you are covered right. Hello, this is Shane with IRE Insurance, and our agents have seen it all, and one slip-up can take a small business years to recover from. That's why it's so important for a small business to work with an insurance company that can save them money but also make sure they are protected. If you own a small business, we would like to work for you. Go to ireinsurance.com to find a local agent near you.
In Hope, North Dakota, we aren't just a town, we're a community, one that you can be proud of, where you and your family can grow. With available jobs, affordable housing, a local golf course and pool, the Sportsman Club, and great educational opportunities, there hasn't been a better time to join the Hope community, ideally located between Fargo, Grand Forks, and Jamestown. For more information, go to www.hopend.com. Live, work, and play in Hope, North Dakota.
Buying a new home, but worried about the interest rate and terms from your bank? At First Class Mortgage, we'll find a mortgage that fits your needs. Shopping national banks and other lenders for the lowest rate and most affordable terms, saving you time and money. So all you need to worry about is enjoying your new home. First Class Mortgage, our expertise, your peace of mind. Put an expert to work for you. Call today.
We continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. The Minnesota boys basketball playoffs are still in the region phase. That will be winding down by the end of the week. I had a chance to talk with 2 coaches still alive in Class 8AA, Nathan Stoa of Hawley, and first, Matt Askegaard of Barnesville. We continue talking about the Minnesota boys basketball playoffs. Matt Askegaard is the coach of the Barnesville Trojans, who pulled off a nice upset on Monday, beating Perham 48-43. Matt, I know your voice is a little wore out, but tell me about the game last night.
Well, we had a couple days to prepare for them. We prepared differently for them than we did the previous 2 times. Well, because it's playoffs and you're able to do that. Mm-hmm. And we had a game plan. We had stuck to our game plan. The boys bought into it, and we played great defense. We hit shots when we needed to. Free throws were few and far between, but when it really counted, we were able to knock those down. But I couldn't say enough about our boys and them buying into our defensive game plan and holding to a very, very good team, number 6 team in the state, to their lowest output of points for the season in their home gym. So it was a great. I'm proud of our boys, and it's great for our program, great for our community.
Yeah, 43 points. That's the kind of thing that leads to the cliche that defense wins championships.
It does. What we didn't want to do is give up layups. We gave up 10 3-pointers. People probably don't see that statistic, and people would say, "Oh, Perham lives and dies by the 3," but we did not want to give them easy baskets, and we wanted to contain them. They've got 3 outstanding players. It's unfortunate. Ohm got hurt, turned his ankle, maybe possibly broke it. But Soren Anderson, Micah Thompson, Jacob Daniels hit a couple threes in the first half. Number 20, who comes off the bench, hit 3 threes in the second half. They've got a plethora of players. and it's hard to guard not just three of them, but you eventually have to guard all of them. But we forced them to outside shots. That was our game plan, to force them to mid-range and outside shots and not give up layups, and that's what we did. And to give up 10 3-pointers and still win a basketball game, when you only give up 5 other field goals, and don't put them to the foul line, yeah, defense does well. Hopefully, it can get us to the championship.
And on your side, Tate Immiger had 18 points, and Gannon Bogren had 14 on Monday.
Yep. Gannon played a heck of a first half. He came, I think he had 4 3-pointers, hit a couple free throws down the stretch for us that were big. As a side, led us in rebounding too. I mean, he's 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet in the program, but he's not 6 feet. And I can't say enough about that kid for a sophomore, how hard-nosed he is, how much he enjoys competing and gets after it. And then, of course, you mentioned Tate, our big guy in the middle, who does, well, he can play all 5 positions. He can run the point for us. He can go inside. That's where we ask him to go. He's a tough guy to defend, being 6'2", 250, 260, and light and agile on his feet. Some tough baskets inside, a few huge N1s, and icing it down the stretch with free throws as well. But we've got a lot of other different guys that do a lot of great things too. Zachary Bredman, who controls the pace of the game. Our offense runs through him. I know he only had 2 or 3 points last night, but what he does with his ball handling and controlling the pace of the game is huge. Another couple guys that come off the bench, Owen Riddle, Braden Bredman, our defensive stoppers. They hit a couple threes that were huge late in that game as well. So it's just a great team effort for our guys, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
So you continue in the 8AA playoffs, and Wednesday night you'll be facing Dilworth, Glen Felton, the neighbors, and that game will be in Detroit Lakes, the second game, I believe, in that 8AA doubleheader. And like Perham, they beat you twice in the regular season. What do you look to do differently against the Rebels?
Well, I mean, they've got a very good team as well. I think the last time you and I visited, it was the day before, a couple days before we played them the second time around, or first time. I don't remember which it was. But obviously everybody knows Owen Leach. He's averaging just under 30 points a game, but they've got other players too. They've got Grant Anderson inside, big body, 6'5", Sheely, Steichen, guys that can shoot it. It's going to take another great defensive effort. We're going to have to force them into tough shots, rebound the heck out of the basketball, be patient on offense like we were last night, and that'll give us a great opportunity. We have a great opportunity, but it's going to give us a great chance to win that basketball game as well. So there's really no secret ingredients. It comes down to just playing basketball and trying to take away their biggest assets and forcing them into positions that they're not familiar with. And that's all we can do. And we'll have another good game plan that we're assembling right now for practice tonight, have another good practice, and come ready to go tomorrow.
All right. Wish you the best of luck there. I recommend lemon juice for your voice.
I will, I need to rest it, but I don't think it's going to get much rest for hopefully another week and a half. I'll take that. I'll deal with it. But I'll take your recommendation, Joe.
There you go. The Trojans advancing in the 8AA playoffs, taking on DGF on Wednesday night, and we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com coaches show right after this. Minnesota boys basketball still going on with section play. Nathan Stoa is the coach of the Hawley Nuggets, still alive in 8AA after a win on Monday night against Wadena Deer Creek. Could you talk about that game?
Yeah, it was a game of runs. Both teams, as Clark Kellogg would say on the March Madness coverage, had good spurtability, but we were able to put together a few more runs that were sustained throughout, a little bit longer moments in the first half and then in the mid second half in order to close it out. But it was up and down pace early, but we did a really good job we did a really good job on the offensive and defensive glass, and that really changed the game for us.
That sounds a bit like the game against Crookston in the opening round, where I guess Sam Sensky and Noah Nelson had about 8 offensive rebounds between them in that game.
Yeah, they did. And then Sam slashed a really impressive game last night. I think it was 26 points, 16 rebounds, and 6 assists.
Wow.
And then Mason Grattan got on the boards last night with 9, 3 of them on offense. And then I think Nelson put five together. So we did a really good job of gang rebounding last night. Derek Tibbetts, who's usually one of our leading rebounders and springy and athletic, he only could get his hands on 1, but was in the mix to need to be kept off the boards the whole time. But we did a really, really good job on the glass throughout the game.
That's the kind of thing that can win you games, especially getting offensive rebounds.
Yeah, especially when right now we're not shooting at a particularly high clip, especially from 3. We're doing pretty well inside the arc, but we're just not as consistent right now as we are capable of being from 3. But we've been able to turn some of those misses into, still quality possessions, because guys like Noah and Derek and Sam are going to the offensive glass.
What are some other things that have been going well for you lately?
We've been able to turn some teams over, and that's helped us get out in transition, and we're best when we're playing in the broken floor against teams. But our biggest difference maker right now is we're dribbling the ball a heck of a lot less than we did to finish the season, and we are moving it at a much crisper rate. So last night we didn't have a great assist total, but the ball was moving and created driving lanes for guys to get down after a couple passes. So we're at our best when body movement and ball movement is at a high level, and it's been that way so far in the first 2 rounds.
Now you take on a Thief River Falls team. That'll be Wednesday night in Detroit Lakes. Thief River beat you earlier in the season. How is your team different from that point?
Well, we got together as a coaching staff last night and watched that one, and I tell you what, our eyes hurt. It was a tough one to watch. Early in January, long bus ride. There's all sorts of excuses that can be laid down, but we feel we're a significantly different basketball team than we were that day. A lot of the things I just alluded to as being our strengths were the opposite that night. We were low defensive energy. We didn't get to the boards really well, and we were pounding the ball into the ground, trying to put dents in the floor instead of move it. So the team we have been over the last week is not the team that Thief played up there. Now they're better now too. They're looking to play their best basketball here too as well. But it didn't take very many possessions to start having the sick to the stomach feeling from that first trip up to Thief River, where we just did not play anywhere close to our best basketball.
And they've got a fellow who set the school scoring record this year, don't they? Beating Kyle Sandin's mark?
Yeah, I believe Jack Manning was able to overtake Kyle's mark up there. Jack's a real good basketball player. He's got a face-up game, but he also has that old school back to the basket post game. Got a lot of shots in his bag, a lot of tricks in there. So this one very well could come down to who gets in foul trouble first between him and Sensky. And we, both guys are going to need to be crowded by the other team's defense at times. We hope that we're playing solid and disciplined on both ends of the floor so that we can be the one that creates those advantages.
Kind of reminds me of what Pete Gillen, the former coach at Virginia and Xavier, once said. He kind of compared basketball to chess, and that you want to get the other side's big pieces off the playing surface.
Absolutely. It can flat out change the game, and it puts us at a spot, if a kid picks up 2 early ones, where do you believe in the analytics versus the old school thought of the game and playing them with 2 fouls? And a lot of it even can't be decided statistically. It's decided by how much you trust that individual to stay disciplined. And we've all been there throughout the year. You get those situations through, 27 games or whatever we're in right now. But yeah, both guys have a propensity to find themselves in foul trouble because they're really aggressive. I think a lot of it could come down to which teams, big scorers are the most disciplined and keep their hands out of the cookie jar.
That should be a fun game. Thief River Falls against Hawley. Nathan Stoa, coach of the Hawley Nuggets, best of luck, and hopefully you'll still have a game to play later this week.
That is the goal. We want to extend this out as much as we can, but first goal was to host 2 at home, and the second goal was to find our way into a neutral site game, which is kind of where the playoffs really feel like they start. So we're excited to find ourselves back on that neutral floor, and we'll play anybody that they give us an opportunity to square up against.
Nathan Stoa, coach of the Hawley Nuggets boys basketball team, and we'll continue on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation, right after this. That will do it for this edition of the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. We'll have some basketball to talk about next week. Boys that are going to the Minnesota State Tournament, hopefully a North Dakota State champion to talk to as well. And spring sports are getting underway. We'll talk with some coaches that are getting started as far as track and baseball and softball are concerned. It may be a while before they're able to play yet, but practice is getting started in Minnesota and North Dakota. So we'll see what we have. That'll do it. I'm Joe Lancello. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday night at 7 on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation.